Khan, I think you know who I am because I see some familiar faces. Thank you for coming to the Futo Friday talk. Thank you for eating our food, and feel free to eat more food because there is a lot of food to eat, and you know how that goes. Give a big shout out to Big Paul over there, who's already eaten twice and is aspiring to get bigger. I do want to say real quick. This is Little Paul's last day as an intern. Great intern. All of our interns have been great. Brandon is here, with the Immich team, so he's going to be, he's contributing to part of the project that we're going to talk about here today. So anyway, just want you guys to know that we appreciate you. You guys were great, and don't be strangers. In terms of what we're going to talk about today, we have two members of our Immich project here. We're very proud and very excited about it. This is a product that was originally came out of some Reddit posts, I guess. I actually, boned up a little about the lore yesterday talking to them. So Alex Tran, who could not be here because he is on an airplane, he is the lead of the project, and apparently he, kind of made an MVP for this product about 3 years ago. And Zach Pollard, who will be talking at the same time, had pretty much the same idea. They got together, and the rest is history in terms of collaborations. Jason Rasmussen, who is also going to be talking, joined on about like 6 months later. It just shows you that great minds think alike, and with the tools that we have today, people can come together, collaborate, make great software, and that's obviously what we here at Futo are about. And we believe in software sovereignty. We believe that you get to own and control your own software. And Immich, which is self. I mean, one of the things online I saw is like Google Photos but self-hosted. Okay, like that's hopefully it's more than that, but that's a way to think about it. And it's part of our philosophy of sovereignty and control. And so we're very, very proud to have Immich in-house. We're very proud to have it go forward and develop into something that's a big deal that hopefully many, many, many more people will hear about. And so in terms of Zach and Jason, just quick intro. You will hear it in his voice. Zach is English, and that's okay. He went to the University of Loughborough and got a degree in computer science. Jason is from Oregon. That's great because that's where I'm from. And he went to Brigham Young, and he got his degree in computer science as well. So I guess they're putting their degrees to good use. So don't get down, young ones. Just keep learning, and you will have gainful employment. Maybe not necessarily here, but we'll see. We can talk about that later. So guys, why don't you start? All right, they're figuring out like who's gonna start first, I guess, because alpha beta determination takes a little time.
All right, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Jason, and we're going to be talking a little bit about Immich. So before we get started, who has heard of Immich before? Okay, great. Looks like most people. All right, next question. Who here is running Immich themselves? Okay, not quite as many. All right, this will be good. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Immich, what it is, what the features are, and some of the technology behind it and kind of how it's designed and implemented, as well as far as like the roadmap goes, what are some of the upcoming things that we're going to be working on. And yeah. This is what Immich looks like. We have a web application as well as a phone application. So it's basically geared to be a Google Photos replacement. So the primary use case is you take a lot of pictures on your phone, you download the app, and the app lets you back up your pictures to your own server, which is running Immich, and then you can use a web application to also view those photos. So it's basically like backing up your photos, and instead of sending them to a big cloud technology company, which may use it to mine your data or do whatever other things it does with it, you can have them go to your own server at your own house and kind of have like self-sovereignty over your own pictures. The technology that Immich is built on is basically full stack JavaScript and TypeScript. So on the back end, the server is written in Node.js. So it uses like Express to expose a REST API. And then we have some microservices for like job processing. And so all of that is written using TypeScript and Node. And then the web front end is written in Svelte, so it's a single page web application that's, again, written in TypeScript. The mobile app is written in Dart, so it can compile to and like run on iPhone and Android. So we have both an Android and iOS app, and all of the pictures when you upload, those are just stored on your hard drive, and then we have a database where we can keep track of like metadata about the pictures, so you can easily search for them. And there's users; it's a multi-user application, so we can keep track of like which picture belongs to which user. And just like Google Photos, you can make an album and share it with other people. So all of that metadata is stored in Postgres, and we have some extensions to do like some vector operations on it, and we use that for some of the machine learning features. And so there's some vector extensions installed on the database as well. We have a dedicated container for like machine learning stuff. Like I don't do machine learning myself, but the guys who do it, like all the libraries are in Python, and so we have this little container like away from everything else that I don't touch, that like does a bunch of black magic with Python libraries and machine learning models, and it converts the images into these complicated numbers, which you can use to do cool machine learning stuff. So there's a little bit of Python in our tech stack as well. All right, so we're gonna just show you guys the application and some of the features it has. So this is what it looks like. The main use case and like the biggest thing about Immich is you upload your photos either directly on the web or through the mobile app, and then when you log in, you get to this timeline. So on the right here, we have this like scrubber bar, so you can see it goes like back in time. And like the cool thing about Immich is you just like can jump to like any point in time, and then like the pictures at that period in time just like immediately come into frame. So you can just like scroll around and like jump, and it's like really easy to navigate your entire photo collection. When we originally worked on this, it was pretty fast, but there's a decent amount of people in the open source community that have like large collections of photos. Like I don't know how you take that many pictures or have that many pictures to upload, but like we quickly realized that people are pushing like the limits of the implementation, right? And like you cannot load all of these into the DOM at the same time, like it would crash. And like it used to do that to some extent, and like then we broke it into like time buckets, and like even that had some issues. So this has gone through many iterations, and yeah, I think we've seen people with like, I don't know, like 5 million photos in their timeline, and like this loads and works fine. And yeah, we're pretty happy with this timeline. So that's like the main component you see when you navigate in, and then you can select individual pictures and like do things with them. So you can like mark these as favorited. If you click on an individual picture, it'll take you to the detail page, and you can see metadata about the picture. You can see what camera it was taken with, and yeah, we have a bunch of dummy data loaded in. So yeah, these are pictures that have from a trip we took in January. So you can see the information about it, where on the map the picture was taken, the name of it, the camera, and like all that stuff. You can add a description in, which you can then search for later, and you can favorite it. You can archive pictures, like so if you have receipts that you don't need to see all the time, you can archive them, and they show up over here in this archived view. And yeah, if you find your favorite pictures, you can favorite them, and then they show up here as well. And then a big thing with Immich is you can like create albums and then share those photos with someone else. So we already have some albums here. So yeah, here's an example of an album. And the cool thing is, if there's multiple users on the system, then you can like take this album and you can share it with and similar to to other photo sharing applications, you can generate a shared link. So this link, yeah, I guess if you guys scan the QR code, like you would be able to view this link even without logging in. So this is like a publicly hosted instance of Immich, and the link has embedded in it a long set of random characters that someone can use to access these pictures without having their own account or whatever. So it makes it really easy to, like, you go on a trip, you add it, take a bunch of pictures, you add it to the album, and you can share it with your friends, and they can immediately see it. And, yeah, and there's an option too where users without an account, they can upload to a public album as well, so it makes sharing kind of easy. So those are kind of the main features of Immich. More in like I guess I'll talk about 2 or 3 other things, and then we'll turn it over to Zach, and he'll give a little demonstration of the mobile app. The search is pretty cool because you can just do like a free text search for anything, and yeah, so the search works pretty good. You basically you describe a picture you're looking for, and the more detailed you can get, the more likely it'll come up in one of the top pictures. So yeah, the search works really well. And there's also a map view. So you can visualize all your pictures on the map and see where they're taken, which is kind of useful too if, like, you remember where you were when something happened, but you can't find the picture itself. You can just go to the map, you go to that old building or house or restaurant or whatever, and you can find the picture. So there's like a ton of other features, and we're probably not going to demo all of those today, but we have like a locked folder, so if you want to have like a pin protected set of pictures, like, you can do that. We have some utilities, so you can look at pictures that are possibly duplicates. So if you've taken 2 pictures and they're like slightly different, this will use machine learning to think like, hey, these are probably the same thing, and then you're presented those, and you have the option to pick which one you keep and stuff like that. And you can also see like the biggest files if you want to like save some space and delete some stuff. You can also view the pictures on disks in the folders, and we have like tags, so you can use that to organize your photos. We have like hierarchical tags, so you can have like events and then Christmas and then 2024, and there's like tons of ways to organize and access the pictures that you've uploaded. And one other thing I'll say about Immich is like there's a ton of use cases for it. If you're a photographer or you take pictures, and like some people use it for kind of like small business stuff. Other people use it for like sharing with friends and family. Some people use it as kind of like portfolio stuff. And there's like a decent amount of settings that you can configure it with. So the interface is pretty minimal. Like, it's important to us that like the normal user can just like log in and start using it and not get too overwhelmed with all like the things you can do. So we try to minimize how much stuff they're exposed to. But in the settings, like, you can configure whether password and OAuth are enabled. There's like automatic database dumps. You can configure the resolution of the thumbnails that we generate. So if you have more compute and storage, you can like change those settings. And then there's like a ton of transcoding settings, and you can enable or disable things. Like, if you don't ever want to run machine learning on any of this stuff, you can turn that off. There's some parts of this that rely on like external services to like download stuff. Everything we've built basically runs on the device, but there's some places it will like reach out externally to download some metadata or whatever, and like you can disable that stuff. So there's just like tons of settings. So we try to make it easy for users to customize and use it however they want to. But yeah, I guess before we go on, does anyone have any questions about Immich or what we've showed so far? Yeah, I can repeat the question after you ask it if you want.
No, it's okay. You got it, Mark. Is the search based on machine learning? Like that would need to be activated to do like the accurate searches that you had on there?
Yeah, so the question was about how the search works, especially the search I just demonstrated. So there there's different ways you can search. So you can just search by like with people in the pictures, or you can search by like text that's associated with the metadata of the picture. So all of that just like goes directly to the database and will pull back like exact matches basically. The mach-
It's like a location, and
The-
it would like bring it up.
Yeah, so you can search by that. Separate from that, and that works without anything, right? And separate from that is like the smart search, which is what I demonstrated. For that, the photos get processed by machine learning on the device, and it basically converts the image into like a multi-dimensional vector, and that gets stored in the database. And then when you do a text search, it converts your text to a similar format, and then does like nearest neighbor search in the database. So all the images get processed, and then your search input gets processed, and then it does a database query for relevant results.
When you're sharing the album or images from your self-hosted instance of Immich, is that pushed to a cloud somewhere else, or is it providing them a link to like your IP address? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so currently Immich is like the only way to run Immich right now is basically like self-hosted. So like you run it yourself, or you run it yourself in like some cloud provider, right? But we don't have like a cloud deployment of like one, global image instance. And the sharing, like there are no central servers to upload anything to. Like it's your own hardware, it's your own software running. So there are like different ways to make your server that you run at home like accessible to other people. You can use like a reverse proxy to have direct access to it, or you could use like a VPN to have access to it. So the shared link and sharing portion of Immich is really just like once the server is accessible, how does the authentication work to see if you can view that specific image or album. Cool. And any other questions? Some from the live chat?
Should we do that at the end? We'll do the live chat questions at the end.
Okay, yeah, let's continue with the demo. Zach will show you the mobile app and some of the similar features on there, and then we'll go from there.
All right, hello. So let me just get the phone ready. Where's this gone? All right, there we go. So yeah, we have a, as was mentioned, a mobile app written in Flutter. It's available on the Google Play Store, F-Droid, on the iOS store as well, the App Store. But yeah, most of the things you saw on the web, you can also do on the mobile. The mobile also works quite well offline. A lot of stuff is cached. If you've seen it before, like all of this, we can scrub through. I'm not on the Wi-Fi on my phone, so the thumbnails might be a little slow because I'm roaming from the UK. So, but yeah, the app works exactly the same. You can go and see all the albums that we saw before, and as you see, like the albums themselves, like all this data is loading super fast because that is all synced to the device. That isn't having to make a remote call, just for the thumbnails and stuff. And if I go away and come back, they're now saved on the device, cached, so they won't have to reload. We do have a complete automatic backup from the app as well, similar to other apps like from the major providers. So you can select what albums that you want to back up from. Like I can go in here and you can see all the different albums on my phone, and you can select those, and then we'll automatically back those up in the background for you. Yeah, and as I said, most of the features that you saw, we have the map here. You can go in, you get a heat map, you can scroll in, you can see what photos are in that section of the map here. Going even further, you'll see that it's just just these ones. And yeah, people, everything that we had on the other one, on the web. So yeah, the app works really nicely. We've actually just done a huge amount of changes. We built a completely bespoke sync system on the server, and that now is our beta timeline, which you can enable if you do have Immich installed. And you can see all the stats here. You just enable it at the top. And there's a bunch of settings as well. Yeah. So I think that's probably enough for the app. You saw everything in detail on the web. But we can go back to the presentation. Yeah, I think if you are in the Immich community, this is like the main thing that people are asking us about is the stable release. So that is hopefully going to be quite soon. And stable release means different things for different people. For us, it means having like backwards compatibility with the app and the server. We have it a little bit right now, but when we go stable, any major version of the server should work with any major version of the app, ideally, and maybe even wider than that. We still to figure that out. But the other major thing is the semantic versioning. So right now we're in like a beta phase. So all our releases are minor releases or patch releases. So we'll do breaking changes in minor releases, and people have to go and read the release notes and make changes to their server to keep it functional when they update. Once we go stable, that won't be the case anymore. You'll be able to auto-update minor releases, and you'll only have to pay attention to those breaking changes when we go to a new major version. Do you want to talk about smart albums?
Like I said before, there's like a bunch of different use cases for photography apps and like how people use Immich. And like one thing that we've run into is like a bunch of people want different things to work automatically. They want to be able to just have the app do this thing for them or just do that thing for them. And one of those things is like smart albums. They don't want to have to like manually go find every picture that has like this person in and like add it to an album and then share that album with someone else. They just want pictures with that person to automatically be added and automatically be shared and like notify the people it's shared with that, you know, new pictures were added. So that's one of the features we want to add is being able to automatically have those types of things created based off of criteria. So the user can say all the pictures in this place or these state ranges or including this criteria, they get created to an album. And like one of the ways we want to implement that is with this thing called workflows. So basically we want to enable these building blocks within Immich so the user can specify like when these conditions happen, like do this action. Or like, like you could build integration with like another social media platform, right? Like whenever an asset is added to this album, like automatically publish it somewhere else. Or like when you share an album, like do this event. So we want to have kind of like a workflow system where people can build the different types of use cases that they have right into Immich itself. And so we think that will enable like most of the use cases that we've heard about, and we don't have to as maintainers build out every one of those individual features, which may or may not be used by a lot of people. So eventually we want to have the option to have like community plugins and be able to automate these types of actions.
Cool. So another thing that we really want to build is federation. So one of the things that you get kind of for free when you have a cloud platform is that you can share albums with anyone on that cloud platform. One of the things that you lose when you use Immich is if you have an instance yourself and your friends also have an instance and you go on holiday together, whose instance are you going to upload the photos to? Like if you want to share them with each other, all the photos that you took together, now you have to either upload them to both, and that's obviously not ideal. Like if you have multiple Immich instances or all your friends, then that's a lot of duplicated effort. So we want to implement something where you can share albums between Immich instances. and then you'll be able to add assets to that album, and they'll be visible on both instances for all the users that you add them to. That's Federation. We're also looking at implementing a backup and restore system into Immich. Specifically, we want to offer our own cloud backup solution built directly into Immich. So you would still have all your photos on your server. It would still all be completely self-hosted. This is just an extra option to make backing up those in case you have catastrophic failure or accidentally delete stuff, whatever. You have those stored end-to-end encrypted on our servers that we manage and run. You obviously would pay a fee for that, which helps to support the project and obviously the infrastructure costs for running that. And then, the idea should be super simple. One of the things that we've seen with Immich is that a lot of people have come into self-hosting with Immich being their first project. Like they see it and go, I want to get away from these other cloud options, but they've never run anything themselves. So their experience is maybe not they don't have the experience that you might want when you're dealing with data that you never want to lose. So those people don't have experience on how to properly back things up, like they're probably doing it where they connect a second USB hard drive in the same building. Doesn't really help if the building burns down, for example, and you lose all your family photos. So we want to make it super simple for those people and anyone else to have secure backups. And then eventually, we would like to expand that to a full cloud, although that is probably a long way in the future, and we don't know what that exactly looks like yet, but we would love to offer like a full Immich cloud solution where you can just, if you want to use Immich, but you don't want to run it yourself, you can use it through us. Cool. Yeah? So I think we can go to questions now, if we have any more questions, and then any from the stream as well.
Howdy. Will there be or would it be possible to have federated backups where like you and a friend or multiple friends can like shard your Immich photos across to each other in an E2E fashion?
Yeah, so I think we want to build that into that end-to-end backup solution like further down the line. So I think the first stage of that project is to have the cloud option, and then a further option is that you could do like buddy backups, right? So you could say, I'm going to back up all my photos to your instance end-to-end encrypted. You can back them all up to my instance end-to-end encrypted on my storage. And then maybe you also have a copy in the cloud, and then you have your 3 copies that you should have. You have the original, the one with your friend, and the one in the cloud, and then you're pretty safe. So yes, we do want to do that. It'll probably come later than the initial cloud backup stuff, though.
Any other questions?
Hello. So I remember when I on the website it says Immich is in beta and you should not trust it for your only source of storing your photos. But I'm kind of lazy and I just put all my photos in Immich anyways, and some of them I delete off my computer because I ran out of space and just have it on my server. So what is the probability that a person would lose their photos if they just have them only on Immich right now?
So extremely low. We're obviously not trying to break that. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a warning that Immich is unstable, is in beta, right? Yeah. We are very close to having a stable release at this mm-hmm. point, and when we do, that warning will go away. Mm-hmm. You still should have multiple copies of your photos. I think mm-hmm. that banner is kind of pushing you towards storing them in Immich and maybe another solution, you could use Nextcloud, for example, to also mm-hmm. store them, or a cloud provider until Immich is stable. But once we have that, obviously you could use Immich as your only place that you use to back up your photos from your phone, mm-hmm. but you should also have second copies, proper backups of those in other locations, so that if that computer has a problem, yeah. or you accidentally delete them, and you need them back, then you have that ability.
We got some from the live chat.
So a question from Austin. He asks, what considerations does a team have when they're deciding to add a new feature from the community's requests?
Okay, so I answer that. So yeah, I think the main things we consider is like how many people want that feature. If it's like a very small percentage of users and it's like high complexity to implement, then maybe we won't do it. If it's very, very low complexity and still a small percentage of users, then we might still do it. But it's a feature that a lot of people want, and it is possible for us to implement in a reasonable way, like we will probably do it. Like, I don't think we said no to too many things. Like there are some features on the like feature requests in our GitHub discussions that haven't been implemented and have a lot of votes, but there's reasons for those, like technically, and a lot of them are things that will get done at some point. It's just now is not a good time. I think, yeah, it's mostly technical complexity and the maintenance effort going forwards of maintaining those features, along with how many people use it. Anything to add to that?
May I just say as well, like it's open source, and like you could always take the project and fork it and like add those changes in yourself, even if we haven't accepted it. There are people like we have like I don't know like 90 open like pull requests on the repository now, and like some people have added features and like submitted those requests, and like there's some balance too to that. Like we're paid to work on this full time, and we have to balance our time between addressing community requests, but also doing some of the more complicated work ourselves. And there's constant like cleanup that has to happen. There's like technical debt that we need to address. And there's also like some of the more boring stuff that like an external contributor is not going to do. Like the two of us in particular have spent like a unfortunate amount of time doing like this sync implementation, which is not particularly like fun or exciting, but it's like a critical piece of like the mobile app stability, right? And so like time spent on that takes away from time reviewing like external contributions and stuff. So there's like a balance with all of it, but I feel like in general, like Zach said, we're pretty amicable and willing to accept feature requests if it makes sense and doesn't add too much to the maintenance burden. Yeah, and we hope with like workflows and stuff, there's like a group of feature requests that once we enable those building blocks, that will be kind of something the user can do without us having to build something extra for that.
So another question from the chat from David H. He asks, how difficult would it be to add support for voice memos? A lot of my old cameras created them, and I'd like to have them in the timeline.
So we did make the decision a long time ago to not support audio. We think there is other tooling out there to deal with audio. Maybe that decision changes at some point. I think we're trying to focus on making the app the best possible thing for photos and videos, which is what most of these other applications in the same space do. So yeah, I think the complexity is probably not too crazy, but obviously there's a lot of things that happen when you add an asset, and a lot of things that care about what type of assets things are and compatibility of whether you can play it or not, which is complex enough with images and videos. So I think basically the complexity is not that bad, but we have decided not to add that, at least for now.
I'll just add as well that Immich is not particularly old. I think it's like, what, like 3.5 years old or something? So it's kind of crazy to see how far we've been able to come in such a short period of time, right? So like we've developed a lot of features and implemented a lot of stuff, and like we take a bit of a mentality of like, let's keep the project agile and let's make it possible to move fast and build things that people want. But we do get kind of these ancillary requests all the time. Like someone's like, can I upload documents here? And like, can you integrate like some to-do list functionality? Or like, I really want to sync it with like my calendar contacts and like link those to these people. And so like, it quickly can like branch out into more of like, yeah, like a suite of tools. And so we really try to be careful about the scope of the application and keep it limited to like a photo backup and management piece of software. We'll maybe do one or two more questions if there's more.
Yeah, we have 3 more questions from the chat. We can do 2 more of those, if that's okay.
We can do all of them, and then
Okay.
we'll call it good with that.
Okay. So this next one says, I love Immich. One issue I have is that the Android mobile app lags horribly when uploading large amounts of files. Will this be addressed in the future?
It's been addressed. Update your server and enable the beta timeline in the settings.
Okay, this next one, Jeffrey asks, with the sharing, will the photo be synced on both Immich instances, or will it be stored on one and shared with a link or so with another?
So I think you're talking about the federation stuff I mentioned.
I assume he's talking about that.
Yeah, so undecided. I think the way I would like to do it is to have that be an option for like the admin of the server. But yeah, imagine in the first instance, like the thumbnails would be synced, but the actual request for loading the original would go to the other server when you open it. That's traditionally how federation works rather than a full sync. It's like just brings the data in, but then you make a request to the other servers to get the actual like original files.
So the last question by Tristan, he asks, will there be a possibility to manually add photos to people's faces?
You can do that. It's kind of the other way around. You like add the face to the photo. So if it hasn't detected the face, you can manually go in and add a face. And then I can't actually remember the full flow for that right now, but you can basically go onto the photo and add a face to the photo and draw the box around the face. And then I'm not sure how you link that to the person. I can't remember. But yeah, if you follow that flow, then you can do what you're asking.
Yeah, maybe related to that, the web usually has like every feature, and then the mobile app has like most of the features. There's a lot more web developers than there are mobile developers, and so the mobile app usually just lags behind a little bit when it comes to features. So definitely, in the last little bit, we added the option on the web to when you view a picture, you can like drag a box around the face, and then you could say who that person is. So that's definitely something that's available on the web and probably will be available on the mobile app at some point in the future as well. Yeah, the whole person management stuff is like kind of complicated. You have like faces detected on the picture, and then you cluster the faces together. And if there's enough of a similarity between a group of them, then that becomes a person. And then that person is unnamed, then you can assign a name to it. And then there may be faces in the photo that's just like this isn't associated to a person, so you can manually say this face that was detected belongs to this person. But yeah, like one of the use cases, like it's the back of someone's head. So the person's in the photo, but like facial recognition is not going to find any faces. So we did add the option to say, this back of my head is in fact me, and then it'll show up in the search for yourself and stuff like that. You want to close up?
Sure. All right, well, thanks for listening. And yeah, if you haven't given Immich a try, give it a try. There is a demo site. You can go demo.immich.app if you want to give it a go yourself without spinning it up. But also, spinning it up is very simple. There's just a Docker Compose file. On the Immich.app website, we have a Get Started guide that takes you through how to set it up. It's not very long. If you have Docker, you can probably have it running in 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, give it a go, and thanks for listening.
Hey, thank you for coming to this great talk, and thank you guys again. That was great. Next week we're gonna have James Torrey, who is our Futo Fellow. He's gonna give a talk on what he's been working on, so that'll be exciting. And we have another talk at the end of the month. And we will tell you if you want to keep track of us. We do tweet the talks out on our Twitter, and we do make announcements on chat.futo.org. So that's the easiest way to keep track of us right now. But we might create a calendar we can share with you guys, and so you can see what's coming up. Thank you again. There's still some more food, and you guys have a good weekend.